Welcome back. In this video, we are going to go over what animation can learn from architecture through 7 different steps that are clearly and concise. And what you mostly need to understand would be that architecture and animation are quite similar when it comes to not only how they're built, but also the factors and different pros and cons that are taken under consideration. And we will be discussing these in this video. So if you look at New York City's Guggenheim, you can recognize that the intention is to give people signals and a positive response based on their environment and where they are, such as how you're able to go smoothly through the different sections and exhibits that are within the museum. So we see that same thing in game development. Think in Super Mario 64, once you enter Peach's castle, you can see that when you enter different doors, you have different paintings. That's also, you need to keep in mind and understand, that's also an architectural experience that you're having. So both are designed to guide behavior with intention, and that's exactly what they're doing.
That we got a glowing circuit line, right, from our last video, and this basically turns into a bridge, so to speak. So animation frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So one of the problems is that it just turns immediately into a box out of nowhere. So we could probably add another animation frame to make it look more consistent. And yeah, we can definitely try to fix this real quick. If we space everything out right.
Now, after purpose, we want to understand the context, such as where it's happening based on the structure, okay? But based on that structure, there'll be different experiences. What exactly do I mean? So when in Super Mario 64, when you're trying to defeat quote unquote Bowser, right? Especially in the final world or trying to reach there, you notice you keep going through a long and winding staircase. Now, besides, if you play it right, you realize that this gives you some sort of feeling, like you're uplifting yourself towards heaven. Whereas if you're playing Batman Arkham City, except obviously that staircase never ends, but if you're playing Batman Arkham City or the Batman Arkham series, if you're in a crowded area with lots of fights, you're in constant alert, and risk perception and emotional response is also higher because of that situation. Okay, so you need to understand that the structure matters. But I understand that in Batman there's enemies, but I think you can get the idea. It also depends on the platform and where you're fighting. If it's just a flat platform, all you need to do is just mash X or just press the buttons. But if you have different areas, then that means you're gonna have to plan a bit more strategically. So that's gonna change your perception as well.
I've made another layer, and I've placed a box around whatever this is, just to scale it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to layer 1, and I'm gonna duplicate this layer. Let me see. What I'm gonna do next would be, I'm gonna take it I'm gonna take this. And I'm gonna put it around here. Okay? And now that I've merged it, it's now became one thing, which is great.
In Guggenheim Museum, we can see that there exists a spiral ramp, which is basically, and you can also notice how the ramp is designed within that museum, and because the structure it looks very delicate and welcoming, you can also understand that games such as let's say Kingdom Hearts 3, where you're in World 1, which is Olympus. You're trying to enter, let's say Zeus's domain is one of the first ones. I won't spoil it, but once you enter the top of the mountain, you have to enter through, you notice that you break into some place, and once you're going up the stairs, you can sort of tell this is the final destination where you need to be in as part of that world. Why? It gives you that vibe and that sense of feeling that you've reached your destination. It's as if you're reaching to heaven itself.
Alright, what we're gonna do now would be, I'm going to basically, you know, if I have a switch and it just does this up-down animation and looks kind of choppy, it just doesn't look right in general. So what I'm gonna do is add in a third one, because why not? I'm gonna take it from here, paste it to here, and I'm gonna put that right there. And we're gonna evenly try to space these out. But there's something you have to know. So we have to first understand why we're doing this in the first place. So that's how we scale it. We'll do it right. So we'll do this one right here. And then we'll do the other one would go right. Okay, let's see. Alright, like that. So that we can see it switching. Alright?
Now we need to take into consideration that mechanics is also very important when it comes to load distribution, wind balance, structural balance. I mean, Burj Khalifa is the most favorite example, right? So motion has to feel consistent is basically the idea, especially when it comes to video games. But what kind of video games exactly would really be the question? Well, here's the thing. Let's take a look at Ganon's castle from Ocarina of Time, and you realize that the motion is just ascend, 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 ascend. But I mean, that's a vague way to explain it. Once you defeat Ganondorf, so to speak, you have to escape the entire castle before it comes shattering down, right? In Ocarina of Time. However, in Twilight Princess, it's completely different. It's everything in Twilight Princess is basically just level puzzle after puzzle when it comes to the castle itself. However, when it comes to stability and mechanics, you can, through Ocarina of Time, you could feel the place shattering, and when it's shattering, the motion feels consistent and you have the urge to escape. And basically that perception becomes your reality.
Alright, you see we got doors here. What we're going to do is I'm going to have this door placed here. We're gonna make it here, 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 because it's only 2 frames, and we don't want that. Actually, instead of doing this, you know what we can do? Let me get this straight. We're gonna duplicate paint layer 1. Try putting this here. It's not equal, but we'll just do it for the concept. And what we're gonna try to do is let me take this. Try shading a bit here. And I'm gonna take this, take a snippet of it. I'm gonna take all that. Take this, bam, bam, bam. So it looks like the door is actually opening now, which is I mean, it's a shot. It's a shot in the dark, but hopefully you can see how that works. Okay.
Constraints that shape how things are designed, the design constraints and the things that are within it are also pretty important. So the International Code Council is the organization that actually implements safety rules, height limits, and structural requirements within buildings per se. And within animation, this can be frame rate limits and I don't know, FPS, stuff like that. But I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. If you played Arkham City, there's an area where there's the Joker Funhouse, and the setting is different because there's more constraints. You have room, but they're poster jumping all around. In certain boss fights, like in Super Mario Bros. Wii, when you're fighting Kamek introduces constraints. Those constraints implement new rules, such as for safety and height. So you're gonna have to, you automatically gotta do the thinking for how you're gonna survive that situation, which is just avoiding the bad objects by